Hello, social studies teachers, and welcome to week 5 of our Edmt 545 course. I want to draw your attention first to two things here before we dive into Module 5. Module 6 and Module 7 are now open for you to view. Both of these are opened and ready for you to roll because you kind of need to get a head start on them. Module 6 is the specialization reading book talk. Most everyone has sent me your chosen books. If you have not dove into this module yet, that is something that you need to do this weekend. You need to get a book ordered, get a book read, and you are going to create a book talk and upload it by Wednesday of week 6. That's a little bit different of a rhythm that we've been having. Following that altered rhythm, Module 7. Module 7 is where you will have your final project. Your final project is the creation of a methods project. It's simply 5 lesson plans where you are showing what you have learned throughout the previous 5 weeks. And so you are going to create 5 lesson plans that incorporate some of these methods of teaching that we have talked about. I have created for you a template. This will be submitted with your fully written lesson plans, but this is just meant to be downloaded right here. You can go ahead, download it, print it out, and then you can just write. I would lay out the 5 pieces of paper. If you were going to write 5 days worth of lesson plans, it does not have to be a beginning to end unit, just 5 days of lesson plans. Tell me the lesson focus for each one, the lesson goals for each one, teaching techniques that will be included. These are teaching techniques that we have covered over the past 5 weeks. I'm looking to see that you can apply what you have learned. Higher order thinking questions. What questions are you purposely going to ask? That's going to encourage higher order thinking, and that's not going to just be simple surface level questions that you were to think of on a whim. They are well thought out, they're pre-planned, and you are starting class knowing you're going to ask these specific questions. What materials will be needed for each lesson? The learning objectives. These are based on the Kentucky Social Studies standards. What you're going to end up doing, and then your assessment at the end of that particular lesson. So when you click on this, there are 5 different ones of those you're going to fill out. So be thinking about that. There will be more information next week on here, including rubrics for both the book talk and your final project. But because both of these are due on Wednesday of the week, I want you to be thinking about it and working a little bit ahead. Okay, let's jump into Module 5, Assessment, Evaluation, and Techniques. So in assessment, if you are providing those really great student-led lessons and the students are engaged and you are just killing it day after day, but you're not assessing, you really don't know if they are retaining, understanding, comprehending any of the information that you're giving them. And so assessment is so important. It's assessing what the students are understanding, and it's also assessing how you are doing as a teacher. Are these engaging activities actually being impactful to their knowledge? And so assessments are going to assess the students and also assess yourself as an educator. You can see right here on this learning cycle, assessment isn't even halfway through. It's by no means the very last step that we do. We don't teach, assess, and then we're finished, or we do not teach, assess, and then that just simply leads to a grade. Really strong teachers, assessment happens after we've taught. It should be happening every time after we teach. It doesn't have to be a test, and hopefully this module will show you some things that we can use for formative and summative assessments. But you're going to assess at the end of each day. What are they understanding? What is still confused? What misconceptions do we have? And then you are going to analyze that data before you teach again. So it needs to be something that's quick. You need to be doing it regularly, and it needs to be able to impact your next day's teaching. And so once you have assessed, once you've analyzed it, you're going to be able to adapt your teaching, and then you're going to be able to reflect on how you taught originally, what the assessment was, how the students did. And so it is this cycle that happens over and over again. So we are going to jump into how this cycle should happen, what are different assessment forms through Module 5. So with that being said, here's the video that you're watching now. Here's our objectives and our activities for this module. Let's jump ahead here. You can see your lecture materials. The first thing I want you to do is read Chapter 5 from your text using multiple assessments and evaluations. And then I've pulled just a couple things that I thought would be helpful if you also saw through a video. So value-added assessments. Here's a short little video on that. There are 2 on rubrics. These rubrics are important because I want you to include a rubric in your final project. So make sure you watch those. Right here, I want you to start kind of diving in to figure out what are social studies assessments that are required by the state of Kentucky. And so you can start beginning your search right here. And then there is a visual to kind of help you grasp criterion referenced tests. And then there are some additional resources right here. On our next page, you can see our reflection. Reflection, 1 page, single spaced at least. Some people do a lot more. You're just simply answering all these questions. After you have read, after you have watched the videos, what things can you tell me by answering those questions? Okay. Here is our discussion for this week. And it is students who fail to complete assignments. Here's another one of these classroom episodes. You're going to simply click on it and it's going to pull it up and you can read it. It is from your text. So if you would rather read it there, you can. It's actually from page 179. And you're just going to simply tell me what mark should Ethan give for students who do not hand in assignments? Tell me your opinion. What can be done to encourage students to hand in assignments and homework? And do you like Ethan's philosophy on grading? Initial post by Wednesday, and 2 comments by Sunday by midnight. So that is your discussion. And then our classroom application, I have made it in a form of discussion as well, just so you can see everyone else's answers and maybe steal some other ideas. And it starts off here as there are multiple ways to cook an egg, as there are multiple ways to assess students. And so here are 3 multiple choice questions that someone might give on an assessment. What I want you to do is I want you to tell me what is question A asking, and then I would like for you to give me an alternative form of assessment that could help you figure out if a student knew this. Okay, I don't want it to be a short answer or an essay. Be creative. What's another way you could figure out if a student knew this? What's another way you could figure out if a student knew this answer? What's another form of assessment that you could give? And then lastly, what's another form of assessment that you could give for this question? You're going to simply post that there. You do not need to do it by Wednesday night, and you do not need to post on 2 peers. It's just there if you want to see what everybody else answered and look to see how everybody else is thinking through this. Okay. And our last thing, of course, is our summary. By the end of day on Sunday, make sure you have that reflection, a completed discussion, and then your application activity. If you have any questions, please let me know. But again, be just looking at Module 6 and Module 7. I can't wait to watch these book talks. Some of these books that you guys have sent me are really interesting, and I can't wait to learn more about them.